In search of the perfect Dizi Sangak, a culinary journey across Iran, narrated by Chef Edris. Hi, I'm Chef Edris and you're watching Chef Empire. Today I invite you on a journey, not just through geography, but through flavor, memory, and tradition. We're traveling across Iran in search of a legendary recipe, the most authentic, the most soulful version of Dizi Sangak, a dish born from fire, clay, patience, and pride. Before we begin, please subscribe to Chef Empire if you haven't already. Your support isn't just a number. It gives me the motivation and energy to keep exploring, filming, and sharing these journeys with you. Let's begin in Tehran, the beating heart of modern Iran. The city breathes with energy, cars honking, grills sizzling, and voices echoing in the crowded bazaars. Here, tradition meets cosmopolitan ambition, and you can feel it in the food. I walk through the lively Tajrish Bazaar, past pyramids of saffron and dried limes, and finally meet Reza, a third-generation chef who cooks Dizi in clay pots over charcoal. Reza explains his Tehran-style Dizi. We use yellow split peas, dried limes, lamb neck, and a spoonful of tomato paste for color and a little acidity. He hands me a steaming bowl. The aroma is strong and earthy. I tear a piece of hot sangak, fresh from the stone oven nearby, and dip it in the broth. It's good, deeply satisfying. But my gut tells me this is just the beginning. Next, we head south to the ancient city of Isfahan. The architecture here is breathtaking. Turquoise domes, Persian gardens, and quiet alleys that whisper stories from centuries past. I'm welcomed into the courtyard of an old house where Zara, a retired literature teacher, prepares Dizi every Friday for her family. As the dish simmers slowly, Zara recites poetry. Cooking Dizi, she says, is like telling a long poem. You can't rush a single word. Her version uses cinnamon, cumin, coriander seeds, and a local dried herb called golpar. The taste is elegant, smooth, fragrant, and delicate. But still, I want something rawer, something earthier. Onward to Yazd, the desert jewel. This city glows in sand-colored light, and the silence of its old quarters is humbling. In a modest tea house alley, a man with weathered hands and kind eyes stirs a large pot of Dizi. He shares his secret. I use carrots and dried lemon peel to balance the richness of lamb fat. It's a brilliant idea, and the sweetness from the carrots truly lifts the dish. There's a calmness here, in Yazd's slow rhythm, that seeps into the flavor. If you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to subscribe to Chef Empire. Your support gives me so much energy to keep exploring recipes like this and bringing them to life with every detail.
Your eyes. The lights stay flicker and the candles glitter like you're in a thriller. Heart goes pound, pound, pound. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Sure you want to until you can turn back. You don't know where I've been. What's going on inside? Where the monsters like to come alive, come alive. Do you really wanna know me? I'm really not that cozy. It's up to you, so you decide, you decide. Would you love me up my worst till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd. I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted. I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just checking out. A haunted, haunted. I'm a...
Next, we travel north to Tabriz. It's colder here. The people are proud, strong, and so is their cuisine. I meet a grandfather named Baram, who cooks Dizi with cow peas instead of chickpeas and adds a chunk of solid sheep tail fat. This, he says, gives the real flavor, not for the weak-hearted. Indeed, the dish is heavy, bold, and assertive. I respect its power, but I'm not quite there yet. I want balance, not just force. Then to Shiraz, a city that feels like poetry in motion. Oranges hang from trees. The air smells of blossoms and warm bread. Here I meet Lale, a cheerful woman who runs a small garden cafe. Her Dizi is fresh, light, and innovative. She adds mint, bay leaves, and roasted tomatoes. There is no single right recipe, she tells me, but there is a right feeling. And she's right. Her dish tastes like spring, light but soulful. And now to Mashhad, a city of devotion, depth, and hidden culinary gems. In the back streets near an old mosque, I find a small family-run kitchen. And there, I meet someone who changes everything. Hassan is soft-spoken, methodical. He invites me into his kitchen and shows me each ingredient with reverence. Lamb ribs, chickpeas soaked for 24 hours, dried lime powder, black cumin, onion caramelized with saffron, and a touch of cinnamon. Then there's the bread, Sangak made fresh, dusted with sesame and purslane seeds, stretched by hand, and baked on hot river stones. When I take that first bite, I close my eyes. This is it, the Dizi I've been searching for. Rich, balanced, fragrant, and spiritual. It tells a story, not just of food, but of place, people, and purpose. Back home in my studio kitchen, I recreate the magic. Let me walk you through the steps. Start with the meat, lamb ribs with a little fat for depth. Marinate it with turmeric, lime powder, and salt. Next, gently saute onions until golden. Add a pinch of saffron and black cumin, then chickpeas, soft but not falling apart. Simmer it low and slow. This is not fast food. This is slow heritage. As the Dizi cooks, I turn to the bread.
Got so hot, I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling that push me? Are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly, cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They've never seen you
Sangak dough is soft and elastic. I let it rest and rise for hours. Then I stretch it by hand, splash water over hot stones, and lay the dough gently. The steam, the crackle, the scent. It's a sacred process. Sesame, purslane, flame. The bread lifts off the stone with blisters and golden edges, ready to scoop, dip, and absorb the essence of centuries. And finally, it's ready. A bowl of Dizi Sangak that is more than just food. It's the memory of Tehran's bustle, Isfahan's poetry, Yazd's silence, Tabriz's power, Shiraz's soul, and Mashhad's spirit, all simmered together. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Chef Empire. It's your support that fuels my journeys and brings these flavors to life. As I take the last bite, I don't just taste ingredients. I taste culture, history, resilience, love. This is Dizi Sangak, and this is Chef Empire.
A taste of old times, let's learn about Dizi Sangak. Dizi Sangak is not just any food in Persia, it's like a warm hug, a story told, and a way to remember family from long ago. This yummy lamb and chickpea soup, cooked slowly until it's just right, brings everyone together. Think about families all together, laughing and happy, all because of this special dish. The name Dizi actually means the old stone or clay pots they used to cook it in. That shows how old this dish is. This food is super important in Persia, especially when it's cold because it warms you up and makes you feel good. It really feels like home cooking. You can't really have Dizi without Sangak bread. This special whole wheat flatbread is really different. Its name means little stone bread because long ago they baked it on hot, clean stones from the river. This way of baking makes Sangak chewy and a little bumpy on top. It's so nice to tear off a piece of warm Sangak and dip it in the yummy Dizi soup. It's the best friend for Dizi, made to soak up all the tasty juice. They go together perfectly, like a dream. It's a real taste of Persia. In cities like Mashhad, which is famous for its great food, Dizi Sangak is a special local dish everyone loves. You'll find special Dizi restaurants where making it is like art, and families teach each other how. Every cook might have a little secret or do things a tiny bit differently, but the main idea is the same: good food cooked slowly. This dish shows you need to be patient and careful. Cooking it for a long time lets all the flavors mix together really well, making it taste super deep and yummy, which you can't get if you cook it fast. This slow process is why it tastes so amazing. People often eat Dizi together in groups. Making it can be something people do together, and eating it is definitely something for a group. There's a special way to serve and eat Dizi that makes it even nicer. It's not just about getting full, it's about the fun, being together, and how cozy it makes you feel. This food is good for your body and makes you happy too. Knowing how important it is in their culture helps you enjoy every bite even more. It's like an invitation to slow down and enjoy the moment with people you care about. Getting your goodies. What you need for Dizi and Sangak. For the Dizi soup, you'll need good lamb. Try to find lamb shanks or neck parts, about 1 pound. It's best if they have some bone and fat for more taste. You'll also need 1 cup of dried chickpeas and half a cup of dried white beans, like the small white ones. Don't forget 1 big onion, peeled and cut into big pieces. Important spices are 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder. It makes it a pretty yellow color, and salt and fresh black pepper as much as you like. 2 dried limes, they're also called limu Omani, are super important for a special sour taste. You'll also need 2 or 3 medium potatoes, peeled and cut in half, and 2 ripe tomatoes or 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. A tiny bit of saffron threads, soaked in a little hot water, makes it extra special at the end. When you pick your lamb, remember the bone and fat make the soup really rich and tasty. If you can, ask the meat seller for pieces with a good amount of meat and bone. The dried limes are a special thing from Persia. Poke them a few times with a fork before you put them in the soup. This helps their lemony smell get into everything. If you can't find dried limes, a little fresh lime juice at the end can make it taste bright too, but it will be a little different. It's very important to soak the chickpeas and beans in water overnight. This makes them cook faster and easier for your tummy to handle. Planning this a little bit ahead helps a lot. For the sangak bread, the main thing is whole wheat flour, about 4 cups. You'll also need 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast, 1½ teaspoons of salt, and about 1½ to 2 cups of warm water. How much water you need might change a little depending on your flour, so be ready to add a bit more or less. A tablespoon of honey or sugar can help the yeast wake up if you want. For the top, sesame seeds or poppy seeds are what they usually use. They add a nice crunch and a nutty taste. These easy things mix together to make something really special. A bread that's simple but so good. How good your whole wheat flour is will really show in the sangak. If you can find stone ground whole wheat flour, that's even better because it often tastes and feels more interesting. Sangak is also magical because of how it's baked. Usually it's baked on hot, clean little stones. Don't worry if you don't have an oven with stones. You can get something like it by using a hot pizza stone or even a heavy baking sheet turned upside down. Sprinkle some rough cornmeal or semolina on it so the bread doesn't stick and to make it feel a bit like it was baked on stones. This means anyone can try making this great bread at home. Making the yummy Dizi step by step. First, let's get our main things ready. The night before, make sure to wash your dried chickpeas and white beans really well. Then, put lots of fresh water on them and let them sit in the water all night. This is super important. It makes them soft and helps them cook all the same. For the lamb, you can use shanks, neck, or even lamb for stewing that has bones. Cut the meat into pretty big pieces that are easy to handle. Wash it quickly under cold water and dry it with a paper towel. Getting things ready like this means everything is set for the cooking pot, so it's easy and fun. Now let's make the part that gives it flavor. Get a big heavy pot, or a real Dizi pot if you have one. Put it on medium heat and add a tablespoon of oil or ghee. When the oil is warm, add your chopped onion. Cook the onion until it's soft and you can kind of see through it, maybe even a little bit golden. This usually takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Don't rush this part. Soft onions make it taste sweeter. Then put the lamb pieces in the pot. Brown the meat on all sides so it gets a nice color. Cooking it like this makes the flavor deeper and more meaty. Sprinkle in the turmeric powder and mix it well so it covers the meat and onions. Cook for 1 more minute until the turmeric smells good. Next, it's time for the beans and the long, slow cooking. Drain the water from your soaked chickpeas and white beans, and add them to the pot with the meat and onions. Poke your dried limes a few times with a fork. This helps their yummy sour taste come out, and add them to the pot too. Pour in enough cold water so it covers everything by about 2 inches. Make it boil. Once it's boiling, turn the heat down low, put a lid on the pot, and let it cook very softly for at least 2 to 3 hours. The longer it cooks, the softer the meat will get and the tastier the soup will be. Check it sometimes and add more hot water if you need to keep everything under water. About an hour before you think the Dizi is done, when the meat is almost falling off the bone and the beans are soft, it's time to add the last things. Add the peeled potatoes, cut in half, to the pot. If you're using fresh tomatoes, chop them and put them in. Or you can mix in the tomato paste. Add a good amount of salt and fresh black pepper. Give everything a gentle stir. Let it keep cooking softly until the potatoes are cooked and soft, which usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. Just before you serve it, mix in your saffron that you soaked in water. This makes the soup smell beautiful and gives it a pretty golden color. Part 4. Making sangak bread and goosht kubida. While your Dizi is cooking slowly, you can start making the famous sangak bread. In a big bowl, mix your whole wheat flour and salt. In another small bowl, mix the active dry yeast and a little bit of sugar or honey in about half a cup of warm water. The water should be warm, like a bath, around 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, or 40 to 46 degrees Celsius. Let this mix sit for about 5 to 10 minutes until it gets bubbly on top. This means the yeast is working. Gap 2. S. Add the yeast mix to the flour, and also add the rest of the warm water. Start with 1 more cup of water and add more slowly, mixing until you get a rough dough. It should be a little sticky. Put the dough on a surface with a little flour on it, and knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. You want the dough to be smooth and stretchy. Whole wheat dough can sometimes feel a bit heavier than dough made with white flour, so don't worry if it does. Put the kneaded dough in a bowl that has a little oil in it. Turn the dough over once so it's all covered with a bit of oil. Cover the bowl with a clean cloth or plastic wrap, and let it sit in a warm place for about 1 to 1.5 hours, or until it gets twice as big. This waiting time is very important for the bread's taste and how it feels. Being patient here will give you yummy, light sangak. When the dough is bigger, heat up your oven as hot as it can go. That's usually around 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, or 230 to 260 degrees Celsius. If you're using a pizza stone or a baking sheet turned upside down, put it in the oven while it's heating up. Long ago, sangak was baked on hot little stones. If you want to try this and have small stones that are safe for food, you can heat them up on a baking tray. Gently push the air out of the dough that got bigger. Cut it into 2 or 3 pieces. Take 1 piece at a time and stretch it into a long, thin, oval or rectangle shape. You can make your hands a little wet to help stretch it. Sprinkle the seeds you chose, like sesame or poppy, on top. Carefully put the shaped dough onto your hot baking surface and bake it for 5 to 10 minutes until it's golden brown and has a few bubbles on top. Now back to the Dizi. When the soup is all cooked and smells wonderful, it's time for a special step called goosht kubida. That means mashed meat. Carefully pour the Dizi through a strainer. Put the soup liquid called abgusht or tillet into 1 serving bowl. The solid parts, the meat, beans, potatoes, and soft dried limes, you might want to take these out or mash them very gently. Go into another bowl. This separating is a key part of how you eat Dizi the old-fashioned way. First, you eat the soup liquid, often with pieces of bread dipped in it. Then the solid parts left over are mashed up to make a yummy, chunky paste. Part 5. The big finish. Serving and enjoying your Persian meal. Serving Dizi is a special thing, and it's often done in 2 different parts. First, the rich, tasty soup liquid, or tillet, is poured into separate bowls for everyone. This yummy liquid smells so good and makes you feel cozy. People then tear off pieces of warm sangak bread and dip them into the soup, letting the bread soak up all that yummy taste. Sometimes people break small pieces of bread right into the soup, making it kind of like a tasty, thick soup. This part of the meal is light but makes you feel really good. It's a great way to start eating Dizi. It really gets you ready for what's next. Next is the goosht kubida. The solid parts that were separated, the soft lamb, creamy chickpeas and beans, and soft potatoes, are usually mashed together with a special masher called a goosht kub. If you don't have one, a regular potato masher or even a strong fork will work fine. You want to make a paste that's a bit chunky. Some people like it smoother and others like it more chunky. It's just what you like best. This mashed mix is then served on a big plate for everyone to share, or in single bowls. It's ready to be scooped up with more sangak bread. The difference between the tasty soup and the filling mash is wonderful. To make your Persian meal complete, serve Dizi sangak with some usual side dishes. A plate of fresh herbs called sabzi kordan is very important. This usually has mint, basil, tarragon, radishes, and spring onions. They taste fresh and are a nice change from the rich Dizi. Pickled vegetables or torshi add a sour kick that goes really well with the rich food. Sliced raw onions, especially sweet ones, are also often served. They have a strong, sharp taste that's a good contrast. A bowl of plain yogurt can also be served. It adds something cool and creamy to the meal. The best way to enjoy Dizi Sangak is to eat it happily with good friends or family. Tell everyone to tear off pieces of sangak with their hands. Use the bread like a spoon to scoop up the goosht kubida. Take sips of the soup, then bites of the mashed food with herbs and pickles, then more soup, and so on. It's a meal where you do a lot and have fun. The combination of all the different ways things feel in your mouth, the soft bread, the filling mash, the crunchy herbs, and all the different tastes, meaty, sour, fresh, is what makes Dizi Sangak so loved. It's more than just food, it's like a party for taste, old ways, and being together. Enjoy your food trip to Persia.